right. What's really kind of cool is that TikTok sees two of me right now because I'm looking at two different cameras. So um, kudos to them. They have it twice as good as everybody else, I guess. Welcome to Hypnosis Hero Podcast, the only hypnosis podcast where you can get hypnotized through the screen. Tonight we have an extra special guest, a gentleman who is going to be speaking at the Performing Hypnosis Summit coming up in January, and it really isn't that far away. Um, the one thing I will say about the Performing Hypnosis Summit, and I'm sure our guest will echo it, is that it can change your life. Being able to jump into a summit, uh, meet and greet a lot of the people that have come before you, that are in the same boat that you are, and learn together is absolutely huge. So we've got that. And before I do bring out my guest, and my co-host is running a little bit late, so he'll join whenever he can. One thing I do want to mention, of course, is that we do have a special uh, Hypnosis Hero. Oh, look at that! We've got people. There's actual people here. Amanda, it's been a long time since you and I have gotten together. We should do a podcast together too. And then Nora, good to see you. Hopefully everything is going well where you guys are. Um, the weather. I'm not. Scott King once said to everybody in a. Uh, okay, so I apparently the Canadian is just out. He's outnumbered. Hugs to everybody else but the Canadian. It's all good. Okay, let's get something about 2026. Okay, that's a busy year already. It starts off with this thing called New Year's, and then it just keeps going from there. Um, absolutely, we should. Absolutely, we should. One of the things that we want to make sure that everybody here knows is that on December the 26th, that is the 1 year anniversary of Jim's passing. Um, it was undoubtedly a shock to all of us. So at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and what I think is 10 or 11 p.m., so it's still the same day for those of us that are across the pond, we will be hosting a very special Hypnosis Hero podcast where we will actually invite you to come onto the screen with us. So we will have a special link, and either the logistics will be pretty simple. Either message Brian or you'll get the link, and then we'll bring you on as soon as we can. We're allowed to have 10 people in the room at any given time. So, it may be that you just want to say a few words and then duck out. That's good. If you want to stick around for a little bit longer, we'll make that happen as best as possible. We do want to give everybody an opportunity to, tell their best Jim story, because, to say that Jim touched us all joking aside, because it is Jim and he would love that kind of a joke. His goal was always to touch 1 billion people through hypnosis and the power of hypnosis. And so we're all part of that because Jim was one of those guys that just kind of connected all of us together. So by all means, make sure you join us for that. That information is already out on the social media post, but I will make sure to update it. Montreal, Quebec, en français? I don't know. We'll go with it. They used to have a pretty decent hockey team. I don't know if they do anymore. We'll ask our guest this when he comes on. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just because I cheer for Edmonton, it's okay. I got Logan joining us in TikTok land, and I'm sure a few others will be popping in and out. So as the night progresses, I'll make sure to ask any questions they have in the chat as well. LinkedIn, we're also live there. The chat doesn't directly translate, so if you do have questions and you are on LinkedIn, feel free to either message me or jump into one of the other platforms. Nora says, love that we're celebrating. You know what? 100%. I actually toyed with that idea. Kind of started mid-November, and I was thinking about, okay, logistically, how could we handle this? Because I know either Brian or I called many of you, and to let you know the news. And for the phone calls that I made, and I'm pretty sure Brian will echo this when he gets here. I remember each of those phone calls because it was silence, shock, and then everything came out for each of those phone calls, and in different ways. Some people were very gracious about letting us know, thank you for calling us in advance. Some people, it was a full on ugly cry, and each of those, it was it was our we felt it was up to us to let everybody know as best we could. So, and if we didn't get to you, don't think we weren't thinking about you. It's just that the news might have broken a little bit sooner than we were hoping. So, but Nora says, I will be there. I may not speak on camera to avoid the full on ugly cry. I totally get it. The Kleenex company will probably make a few extra dollars. There's no question. But I tell you, Jim is just that kind of a guy. He can make people cry all the time because he can. All right. Brian, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up. There he is, just like that.
Yep.
Almost like Arthur Fonzarelli. Not
Hey.
not nearly as cool, but no leather jacket.
Oh no, it's in my other pants. So, greetings to everybody on this fine eventide right before Christmas.
Yes, we are just about there.
So I hear that this is a special episode, Festivus, where the airing of grievances. Oh wait,
I,
no,
I,
Grant.
I take it there was a technical issue earlier.
Which one? The phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning from Grant going, "I'm home," or
He called you. He didn't call me.
oh no, video chat. So of course I had I had kind of rolled over. The dog had kind of stirred, something, and I'm just kind of like, all right. And then all of a sudden my phone starts vibrating, and I see, okay, here's a WhatsApp call from Grant. It's video, and my first thought is, oh my god, like something happened. He got delayed or whatever, and he's just like, there's some kind of answer. I kind of fumbling around while it's connecting and turning lights on and everything. I'm just like, hey, what's up, man? Everything okay? Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? I just want to let you know, got home safe and Troy, took the train and this, that, and the other. What time is it there? And I'm like, Grant, it's 5:30 in the morning, man. He goes, oh, that's why you look like shit. My hair's all a mess.
See, he wouldn't have been able to say that about because there is none.
Oh God, it's
So
no, but I'm glad that I mean he had the marathon travel.
yeah, he
Like at
left at
nine,
9 p.m. Toronto time, and he said he was landing at 9 a.m. London time. So
had a 9 hour layover in Toronto, and he's like, I'd rather sit and wait, and rather than be rushed, miss a flight. There's a delay, and now it's going to cost me a lot more.
yep, and in
And
that in Pearson Airport, I 100% totally get what he's talking about because it is, um, yeah, it's a special airport. Let's put it that way. That's all I'm going
yeah,
to say about that.
and so I was on
Canada will never let me fly again.
right. So I was on Amanda Dodd's podcast today, and apparently my camera, or refire the laptop, the whole bit, camera just would not work on her the whatever the thing that we were using, and so she's like, "All right, Brian's going to be here, ASMR." I'm like, "Yep, Mom always said I had a face for radio," and of course, I like scrambled to get up, shower, clean the ferret off of my face. I'm like, all right, I'm a first time guest on her show. I'll look presentable, something that resembles professional, and yeah, we just Riverside.
Okay.
So yeah, that's been a busy and productive last couple of days. Last minute, a friend of mine called me, hey, I need you to do heat press on a hoodie for me for my boyfriend, husband, I forget what. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go be Santa's little helper. So had to go make a delivery, and so now I'm just kind of just woo-saw. But how are things on your end, man?
Cold, snowy. The next round of snow is coming. We just don't know when. It could be Christmas Day, it could be Boxing Day. So by the time Boxing Day rolls around, though, I will be in Saskatoon. So I have to be, because we have our podcast, and then my youngest son has a concert he's playing with a band called the Steadies.
Oh, okay.
And the lead singer apparently was one of the members of Wide Mouth Mason. So I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but
the Wide Mouth Masons.
Yeah, Wide Mouth Mason. That's it. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a Canadian band, but
yeah, the name doesn't ring bells. So
I'm not sure what that translates to in French, Amanda. But you can translate
something tabernacle Quebecois. I'm assuming French Canadian and not European France.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So we got pretty good we got exciting guests tonight.
We do. We also have Fraser Penman all the way from Scotland on TikTok. We have Becca here from England.
Yep.
So we've got representation from
the European Union, the Crown. Yeah. We have no Grant.
Well, give the man a little bit of time to rest and recuperate. He's probably sleeping now.
He's still on. He's been sleeping for hours. He's still on Canadian time.
Not just any Canadian time, Saskatchewan time, because we're special. We have our own time zone. We don't mess around with anybody else's time zones.
Yeah. So no, it's no. We're gonna have Tommy do a special thing today, and Becky's gonna stay up, and Tommy's gonna help Becky get out of her own damn way. And we're all going to give Becca some juju and, all the good thoughts of like, yes, you are capable. You can make the trip to Las Vegas to come see everybody, or we're all excited to meet you. And, it's going to be a good time. So we'll get over some anxieties of travel and make that happen. Because it's going to be a whole nother year until the next conference comes around. So, why subject yourself to that?
Michigan is
closer. You're not helping, Shawn.
Just saying geographically.
Oh, sure. I mean, why don't we all go hit the one in Dublin? When's the Ireland one?
April. I think March, April. I'd have to check.
Okay.
I'm busy updating my slide decks for next year already, because there are a ton more conferences. Even Portugal is having a conference unto itself now. It's just announced a little while ago. They confirmed their venue, and they are busy prepping for, I believe, a September or October conference. So anyway, all of that is to be updated, and will be on Hypno News Live in due time. But right now, we should, introduce our guest.
We should.
Patiently waiting.
Oh, yeah.
In the scenes, Tommy G is the Hockeytown hypnotist, and known to be the handsomest hypnotist in his house. Not only is he wildly attractive and considered to be a major distraction to passersby, but he is also the hypnotherapy program director for the Tom Silver Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to furthering the work of Tom Silver in scientific hypnosis and body wellness. With that in mind, welcome back to the podcast, because I believe this is his Third visit.
Well, I mean, with hair like what he's rocking, how could we not have him
It
on
makes up
here
for
multiple
makes
times?
up for the fact that I don't have any. I'm thinking that's what it is.
Your words,
Welcome.
not mine.
Yeah, but you were going to say it anyway, so it's
I
okay.
was not.
Welcome back to the podcast, Tommy Giorlando.
Hey,
Tommy, good to see you looking. Oh my God.
I never get tired of hearing that intro that you obviously wrote for me. I definitely didn't write that myself and submit it for you to read on live.
Oh, that's right. The check cleared.
You know, yeah. Oh, okay. Glad to be back. Yeah, this is the third time.
Wonderful. So, man, Merry early Christmas to you and to your family, Tommy. Thank you for taking the time out. And I'm not
Yeah,
sure if
back
we're
at
doing you
y'all.
a favor or you a favor to just get some peace and quiet, or if we've kicked off the what's it called? Oh, there was a good joke there, and I just kind of murdered it.
Just like we're kind of kicking off the IOU to my wife. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, I was going to say we just initiated the irreconcilable differences sequence,
Yeah.
but no, we won't take up too terribly much of everybody's time tonight. But
The important thing is you're taking up the window of which I would be useful to her for the kids. That's the important thing, because they go to bed at like 8, and then at like 9.
like now.
So it's fine. It's fine for me. I get them to bed every night. It's all right. I help out a lot.
It's wonderful, man. So tell us what's the latest and greatest with you, man. How are things? I've seen you online. I've seen you posting. Kind of catch everybody else up.
Just getting more handsome. No, I a lot of
well,
cool
that's a
in the
given.
Works. Yeah, right. No, a lot. Oh, keep that in my ear. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. Is that sound coming from you guys?
Is it a ticking sound or
it sounds like an alarm? Hold on 2 seconds. This is weird.
It's like low battery
but not. That's the thing. All right, let's see.
Like it's too early for Nakatomi Plaza Detroit edition. Too soon.
Let's see here.
It's one of the movies I still have to watch yet before Christmas.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, you're just fine.
All right. And there's not like a weird echo or anything?
No.
All right.
Yeah, you got plenty of soundproofing in there, and nobody can hear you scream.
My speakers are pointed at the microphone, which is a no, but I don't care because that's my speakers. But
right.
Yeah. Anyway, back on topic. No, lots of fun stuff going on. We've been doing cool things with the Tom Silver Foundation. I was just out in Vegas actually about a month and a half ago.
Not too long
a veterans event. And that was really fun getting to work with people. I was working with veterans and first responders on pain relief, free pain relief sessions over at the Finley Honda in Henderson down there. And that was really rewarding to see people getting out of pain so quickly and naturally. And it was really, it's always so, I don't know if you've experienced this yourself, but it was really fun I got this one gentleman out of pain in 3 minutes. He just completely eliminated all of it. He was like,
okay.
He opened his eyes and he said, "This is freaking weird." And he stood up and he's like, he wasn't able to lift his leg very high. He wasn't able to twist much. And he's like doing this and he's going, "This is really weird." And it was really cool to see this guy who'd already given so much. He was a SWAT team member, retired, and also retired military. And it was so cool to see someone who'd given so much get something so quickly. And, I mean, he has a physical injury, so the pain did come back. But it was just one of those things that was just like, it was so cool to get to be part of that. And
Because there's kind of a caveat to the pain relief, correct?
there can be. So there's a few things to consider with pain management. You know, there's number one, pain is the body's alert system. It's like an
Mm.
alarm saying something's wrong. So it's not something you ever want to ignore.
Mm.
And it's not something to just cover up all the time, but it's also not something you just have to live with. And a lot of times, pain itself is more emotionally based than physically based, right? Like we'll see this with people who've had like a surgery and they're fully recovered from the surgery, but the pain itself seems like it doesn't go away. It just recurs, it just stays chronically. Well, a
Mm.
lot of that is just because they have the expectation that it's going to stay chronically because they're afraid of that area. It starts off as physical and then turns into more fear based. And
Oh
so
wow.
once you can work that out, that pain generally doesn't come back, you know. And um but I always tell people when I'm working with them, you know, if the pain comes back, then it means it was a physical injury typically. And that means you need to baby it. You need to take care of it. Even if you feel great, you know, this is the other thing is even if I remove, let's say I take you from a 10 out of 10 down to
Uh-huh.
0, um, you still shouldn't be stupid about it, right? If your knee is hurting you and then I make it stop hurting and then you go for a run,
Yeah.
you're probably going to be in more pain later.
Right. Right. No, that.
Like make sure it's not something physical. So there's a few things to consider with it, um but I like to think about it like this. You know, Harvard did they did two main studies on pain management and hypnosis, and they found that they did it with burn victims and they did it with people with broken bones, and they found that when pain was um, relieved through hypnosis and not medication, as
Okay.
that was the main way of they handled it, the wounds and injuries themselves healed 20 to 30% faster across the board. And it makes sense when you think about it because when you're not taking pills and taking like morphine and whatever else, you know, like to mask that pain, then the body doesn't have to work harder to filter out the toxins. And if the body's not working harder to filter out the toxins and it's able to relax because it's not in that pain, it's still able to just kind of calmly exist, well, then it is able to function at its best. And when it's able to function at its best, it's going to repair itself the way it should. So it's a really cool little phenomenon.
So is that something like you can kind of let the spicy muscles just kind of relax a little bit, let go, and then if you do need that, you know, they're not as guarded. So if you need chiropractic adjustment, you know, stuff can move and shift where it needs to be to provide that relief and kind of reset.
Yeah, well, I was actually just having a conversation with a physical therapist, a doctor of physical therapy. I'm going to be actually um, doing um, a separate. His name's Darren.
Mm.
I'm going to be doing like a live, probably sometime either late January or early February. We're going to get on and do like a live conversation about the ins and outs of pain because he's been doing physical therapy for like 30 years
Yeah.
and worked with athletes and all that kind of stuff. And um, one of the things we talked about was how these skills that I, you know, teach hypnotists, I really should be teaching people like him, chiropractors, physical therapists, nurses,
Mhm.
because, um, oh, my wife says I'm very good looking. I
She's
told you I
not
need
wrong.
a hypnotist in my house. But
There's very little competition here. That's the problem.
it's, well, it's because, what you said, you shaved the ferret off your face. Maybe you should have kept the ferret, Brian.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I
you know, I can fix that by the 26th. I definitely could
There you
have
go.
some.
Do it. Uh,
so what happens with me is I've tried the beard and it just I start running around like a crackhead, just scratching and itching, and then it starts like, you know, getting painful, and I just can't bring
yeah,
myself to.
I got
There's
used
like a
to it.
breakthrough part where you have to just let it do its thing, and then it's, you know, combing
Yeah.
it out and brushing
For
it,
me,
and I'm like,
it all started as a lazy thing with this. Like this was intentional. This was the
mhm.
lazy thing. And like I just I shaved it one day and I didn't like the way it looked. afterward, like after having had the scruff for a while.
Right.
And so then it was like, okay, I'm going to grow it out. And my wife, now she won't let me shave, and I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I was talking to Darren, the physical therapist, and I was saying, I need to teach you these things, because when you can, a lot of times these painful spots, it's emotionally, they're not letting go. Psychologically, they're not letting go of it. There's the tension there. And if you can get them to release that tension before they even get into it, if you can get them to feel like they're not in active pain in that spot, and you remove the useless pain, right? Not the necessary useful pain, but you remove that pain. Well, how much more flexible are you going to be if you don't think this is going to hurt, right? You're going to be able to lift your arm up more. And so that allows you to get those muscles, like you said, back into place the way they're supposed to be. It lets things readjust the way that they're supposed to go. And so I'm actually working on putting together a training for that crowd as well, the medical crowd and the physical therapists, because if they could get somebody to relax when they're, in that kind of joint pain or whatever, and then they can actually work with them, massage therapists, if you can get somebody not to be in pain, and then you can get them to relax their muscles more and work with them, man, that's going to be a far more life-changing experience for them.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about.
I don't know that we're actually off the whole mustache thing yet.
Okay.
Amanda saying that's how my husband's stash started. My dad has a really well developed mustache, and there was a time, I'm going to say about 1984, because my sister would have been about 4. He shaved it off, and my dad he's got a pretty baby looking face when he doesn't have his mustache, right? So he shaves it off, comes out of the bathroom, and my sister just had a meltdown.
Just cried.
Just stranger in the house, who's this guy? And it took about half an hour to calm her down. So don't shave it off; you might traumatize somebody.
I kind of had the polar opposite. So we did a training operation for some team guys that were getting ready to deploy. I think it was Afghanistan, and so I got to go be one of the role players, or like go play the bad guys. And so we're command tells us, hey, like for 2 weeks, don't go get a haircut, don't do anything. When you get out there, don't bother shaving, whatever. Well, we're out there like, I don't know, 30 days. And so it's been like 6 weeks since I've had a haircut, 4.5 weeks since I shaved. And so I've got this like gigantic leprechaun beard, because my beard is like 6 different colors. And so I get home. So my son's 3 at the time. And so he hears me, the garage door open. I come in, my ex-wife is like, hey, dad's home. And so I hear, Daddy. He's like, little feet on the carpet running around. And it was like skid marks on carpet. He took one look at me and was like, who are you? I don't know who you are. And he kind of is just staring at me like, is this stranger danger? Or, like,
oh, maybe it is, because Brian just totally froze up there.
He froze up. That's a good face to be frozen on too.
Well, I was thinking about taking a screen cap just to.
I got it. Here we go.
Got it? There you go.
Got it. All right.
Evidence for PHS.
We'll plaster that everywhere.
Yeah. I guess that's the one thing about pain. We're talking about our physical appearance, and we look a particular way because we choose to look a particular way. Amanda's saying, do it. It'll be all over at PHS. Just print like 20 copies and bring them. I'll bring the tape. We'll make sure that it goes everywhere. Anyway, pain has that ability to kind of mask itself, behind the scenes. And you're absolutely right. Not that I would go out and run a marathon anytime soon, because it is, there was Brian. I'm going to guess Windows updates or something else, maybe with his camera. We'll find out when he comes back. But not, again, minus 25, minus 30 outside. So, don't go running a marathon in that weather at any time. But if you are experiencing pain, and I think you said it best, you should still get it checked out. We're not
Always.
doctors,
Always.
and we can help with the management of it, but we're not diagnostic medical professionals.
Diagnosticians.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a reason that even most chiropractors take X-rays, right? They want to see what's going on. They don't want to make a problem that exists worse just because they think they can fix it without adjusting, or with a simple adjustment. Um, and I've had chiropractors that don't take X-rays. I've had chiropractors that do. But it's really one of those things. Pain isn't something to take lightly, but I think, and what I've seen with the hypnosis community is this vast, it's like a chasm between those of us who work with pain and those who won't, because the ones who do, we're talking the same language here. Those who don't are just saying, "Oh, you shouldn't touch it." Pain is the body's alert system. It's the way the body knows something's wrong. It's essential. You shouldn't be masking something like that. And I kind of always challenge them with the same question of like, well, do you ever take Advil for a headache? Like, you ever taken something for a major muscle spasm? Like, if you've ever, those are not normal things to experience. We say that they're normal headaches and things because in this world that we live in, it's over pharmaceuticalized and everything else. But you know, you take Excedrin, you take Tylenol, you take all these things, and those are toxic, right? Those will kill you if you take too much of it. You can't die from too much hypnosis, So it's like, yes, no matter what we're doing with medication or with hypnosis or whatever you want to use, hopefully something legal and not too lethal. You're masking that pain. You're covering it up is what you're doing, or telling the body, or you're changing the way the body physically responds. Sometimes it's just like an opening of constricted vessels. And when you can get those to open, it allows for blood flow to be improved. And when that blood flow improves because things have relaxed, it makes the pain go away because things aren't so tense. Well, hypnosis does the same thing. So it's really, as long as you're not being stupid about it and you're not just saying, "Oh yeah, you're healed," put the hand on the forehead and say, "The pain is gone. Go run a marathon," and uh, if you're not doing that, you're probably fine. Just be smart about it. Just like you wouldn't have like a stiff neck. Like, let's say you got whiplash, right? You wouldn't have that stiff neck, pop a couple of pain pills, loosen it up, and then go headbang like on Wayne's World or something, right? Like, uh, I mean, most of us wouldn't.
Never
Most of us with an
underestimate
IQ
the
above
power
30 wouldn't.
of Motrin.
Huh?
Never underestimate the power of Motrin and combat armed soldiers.
Right.
They'll do some of the dumbest stuff in the world.
Well,
But
yeah, it's this weird divide of these people won't touch it. It's bad. Don't do it. But they'll still do things to cover up their own pain. So, like, okay. And then there's those of us who are like, okay, let's just be smart about this, and let's do what the science says, because the science says it's good to use this. Harvard showed that twice. So I'm going to go with what they said on this, and and what I've seen personally. So, but yeah, I love pain management sessions because they're just so quick. And it's this instant relief you see on people's faces, and it's relief in a way that you don't get to see when you're dealing with something like addiction, right? Like, we see all these people coming in for, I want to quit smoking, I want to quit drinking, I want to lose weight, and you don't see that relief right away. You'll see the progress over time, and that's a really wonderful thing to see. But pain is such an instant gratification thing in this day and age of TikTok and and YouTube reel or YouTube shorts and Facebook reels and everything. Like, I like that instant gratification when I can get it. So,
Well, I mean, religions have started this way. It's, you're all of a sudden it's hocus pocus and be healed, my child. Uh, I mean, but I mean, yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from on how rewarding it's got to be just to, have the ability to bring somebody relief, because we've all been in that situation where we've needed help, and it's a, excuse me, kind of a vulnerable feeling. And then when someone comes in and is like, hey, I got this, like, we're going to solve this problem together, at least you've got somebody to guide you. And it just makes all the difference in the world.
it really does. Well, like, I fell down my basement stairs back in February. It was an awful fall.
Yeah.
I'm sure I talked about it on here at least once before.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Vinny Brigance hopped on a call with me real quick, and he just said, "Hey, you want to see what we can do with that for you?" 25 minutes later, the pain was gone, and it was just one of those, like, it was an injury, so obviously I wasn't going to be stupid with it, but it was one of those, like, I could finally sneeze and not feel like I was dying from the
Right.
pain of a sneeze, right? And so it was like I could finally sit comfortably, and I think that was like the turning point of a lot of the healing process that allowed me to relax enough
Mhm.
to actually start that process.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it allowed me to go out and do my hypnosis shows, because as a brand new self-employed hypnotist with only 2 shows booked that month and no other income coming in.
So Amanda's got a great question. She's asking, did he have you do the bullet breath or
No.
bullet breathing?
Mm-mm. I've seen that though. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
No, Vinny's awesome. No, it was so it was really very conversational. It was like his organic hypnosis is I guess what you'd put it as. Like, it was very much like, let's just explore this. Let's just talk through it. Let's get creative with it. What can we do? And it really inspired me to go like full force into this. Like, seeing just how unnecessary most of the time an actual hypnotic induction can be.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Brian's well aware. He's been bobbed twice.
huh?
And
That
Brian's well
really
aware.
sounds a lot worse than it is.
He's been bobbed twice.
Okay.
Bob Martin, also a conversational hypnotist, and yeah, I've watched Bob absolutely shred whatever somebody was dealing with in minutes. And yeah, Vinny is right up there. Every time I see him on TikTok, we keep saying, "Oh yeah, we gotta get together and we gotta talk." And it'll be 2026 when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, organic hypnosis, conversational, that whole style.
Do we know if Bob's coming out to PHS?
Bob, I don't think Bob will know.
Okay.
But we did ask Vinny last year if he was coming or not, and he was humming and hawing over it. You might want to have an organic conversation.
I'm gonna have to have an organic conversation with Vinny. Get him out there. I keep saying, so this is one of the things I actually so this is a good segue to PHS. I was having a conversation with one of the women who went through my pain management training course, because I have a training course for that, and it's only like, if you start to finish, it's like 3.5 hours long. It's really not bad, but it gets people off those damn scripts, and that's a big thing, because a lot of these hypnotherapists have only been trained to read scripts and to write scripts, and they don't feel empowered, and so I was approached to help somebody come up with, like, how do I help people out of pain? How do I do this? And I just put together this quick training thing, had them join in, and I don't know if they are completely off scripts entirely, but so far, myself included, and all of my students have 100% success rates on pain management across the board. And
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it's really cool to be able to say that, and it's just using those same techniques. But one of the ladies that went through that course contacted me today and was saying, you know, she has a client who is dealing with this issue, and how would I handle this situation,
Yeah.
based on, you know, the trainings and stuff. And I walked her through what I would do, and it was essentially the same techniques as what I do with pain management. And she was like, oh yeah, it's all kind of the same. And I said, you know, a lot of this stuff is just improv. It's
Yeah.
just a conversation. It's just organically happening.
Mhm.
And I said, I credit a lot of this ability, I guess, this skill, to the fact that my background is in stage hypnosis, is in performing
Right.
on a stage, doing shows, because you never know what's going to really happen. You know, you've got to be able to roll with the punches and go with the flow, and you've got to be prepared to whip out the next trick at a moment's notice. You know, someone's doing something they shouldn't be doing. You better be able to adapt and roll with it and change it and do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
And you got to do it in a way that's not threatening to those people, and that's still engaging to the audience. And it's just a whole different ball game than what you see in the clinical setting. And when you have that skill set, this is something that Tom Silver and I talked extensively about, was when you have that skill set to command a crowd and to command the people on stage and really have a great experience and get fast results and all of that, then you're really, you are better equipped to be a hypnotherapist than most of the hypnotherapists who've paid $15,000 or $16,000 to go through specific trainings over the course of a year. Because
And that's just because you have the latitude and the ability to kind of adapt and adjust on the fly without going, that wasn't part of the script. Oh, what do I do?
Because if you freeze in front of one person, it looks bad, but you can kind of cover that up a little bit if you needed to for your stats or whatever. When you freeze in front of 200 people plus the ones on stage and the show is ruined and all that, like, then that's
and the people who wrote you a check.
Game. Especially with the age of smartphones and cameras, and everything's online now, you know, it takes nothing to make that go out there. So I was saying, you know, if she was able to, she should come out to PHS. Any hypnotherapists out there who haven't done a show, or who haven't dabbled in street hypnosis or any of those kinds of arts within this field, need to get out there, because you're going to learn skills that you're not going to learn at HMI. I'm not hating on anybody, but you're not going to learn those there, because that's not what they teach. That's not their area of expertise. And hypnotherapists will be far better hypnotherapists having learned stage techniques than if they don't. And I will die on that hill.
No, that's awesome.
No need to die. You know, climb the hill, yes, but
I'm going to stay there until I die. That's what I'm saying. My family can come visit me on the hill,
right?
But I'm staying there.
No, and you know, I've been echoing that for some time now. The notion that we live in two separate bubbles is it's an artificial divide, is what it is. We have one bubble, and it's called hypnosis, and within that, yes, there are different techniques and different specialties, and different things can happen, but it still comes down to the hypnotist, their training, and their ability to adapt regardless of the situation. Because guess what? Life doesn't happen on a script.
Yeah.
It can throw variables, and it has thrown variables all over the place, you know, and not just good variables, confounding variables, imaginary numbers, you name it. Life will throw it at you, and how you deal with it has to be appropriate for the moment. You know, case in point, you know, you're talking about your show. I did one on. We were talking about it just before, like driving up to where I was doing my show. Last what should have been a half an hour of the highway turned into about an hour and a half. This semi jackknife that was an inch of ice on the road. Like it
Oh
was,
wow.
they were saying white knuckle driving. It wasn't even a white knuckle. I mean, the knuckles were probably blood deprived by the time I got there. But I got there, did the show.
It was brown pants driving.
Almost. There was a moment.
Thank God we can make people smell different things.
Yeah,
That's right.
for Sean said it, then he almost did it.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about being on stage. And I'm pretty sure they said that I smelled really, really good the second time around.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
paraphrasing because it was there were some other words, but um, uh,
Did Santa get a new sleigh at your show?
actually no,
Okay.
not technically. Rudolph got to pull a brand new Lamborghini.
Oh, very
And
good.
also got a Lamborghini, and the sales lady, she walked away with like $250,000 in bonuses.
God, just the commission on those. It'd be like
Yep.
Oprah. You get a Lambo, you get a Lambo, you get a Lambo.
No, she
Is the
negotiated.
season.
She did really, really well trying to sell it, but Mrs. Claus was a no all the way through.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, let's pull it back here. But that ability to adapt, you don't learn that in a script.
Uh-huh.
You are the person that's there on the stage. You are the person that's there with your client. And if something starts going off the rails, you need to be able to pull it back on. Or if something is getting to be a little bit too long, you need to be able to say, okay, we're not going to do that skit. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to cut to the end of the show. And I had to do that because we were having so much fun with Mr. and Mrs. Claus and company.
Yeah.
I even
And some people you can just you're having so much fun going back and forth, and then all of a sudden it's like we've been doing this for 20 minutes.
Yep. Oh yeah, and
it's still engaging and entertaining and whatnot.
So, case in point, here's something that doesn't happen in every show. So I actually had one of the guys get up. We were in the middle of the cellular shoe phone that Santa had left behind because he was so appreciative that he got the new vehicle. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Everybody got brand new cellular shoe phones, and this is the coolest tech in town. Blah blah blah. They're having their conversations, and one guy gets up, walks off stage, and starts walking towards the bathroom. I said, "Where are you going?" So I need to use the washroom. I'll be right back. Now, remember, he's still hypnotized. He's having his conversation. I said to the crowd, I said, make sure I don't say that word while he's in the bathroom. But you can't just stop the show, wait for him to come back, right? So the next part of the skit for me was to turn it into actually, you know what, because it's such cool tech, it's now a video call. And so they come out with video calls and they're talking to their shoes. He comes out of the bathroom. He heard it. Video call all the way up the stairs, sits down. He's still having a video conversation.
There's laws against this. Cell phone cameras in bathrooms.
And it's like, oh gosh, like
Sean's like, HR's got to talk to us now.
Well, it could have gone so wrong had I said that wonderful word. That would have been a disaster. He'd have fell out in the bathroom. So
right.
That would have been an injury right there. So it's like, oh.
And then in some venues,
but you have to adapt to that kind of scenario, right?
Yeah, you have to think through. It's like playing chess almost. Like you've got to think moves and moves and moves ahead. Otherwise, you're just kind of a slave to what you've written down. You're stuck to that script, and it just doesn't flow as well. And it lets you get more creative with things too. So, I've had people who I didn't realize someone in the audience was hypnotized. And I have my group on stage and they're all doing great. And then the person in the audience starts saying that their name is Bubba with these people. And he's arguing with these two about he's the real Bubba. No, I'm Bubba. No, I'm Bubba. No, I'm Bubba. Well, I'm not going to exclude this guy. That would be so dumb.
You're like, we have ruled out that you have moment. So we've ruled out that you've overconsumed, sir. Like you are now a part of the show.
At that point, yeah, you're there, And it got me thinking of shows differently at that point. The first time that happened, I was like, oh, what if I had people that could be just out in the audience that were hypnotized as part of their thing? I got people on stage. It gets you completely rethinking the whole game. But if I only had my set training that I stuck to exactly as I was taught, and I'm reading these lines and I've memorized these ways of doing things, then I'm going to be bound to that. My show's not going to change. Even if the gimmicks change, the show is the same, and it loses that spark. It's not interesting anymore. And the audience can pick up on that. And being able, I always say this too, being able to engage people and make it so that people find what you're saying interesting and engage and they want to be part of it. If you can do that, then you can hypnotize anybody. And that's confidence right there.
And then recognizing when the content gods just hand you a gift, it's like, thank you, accept it graciously and roll with it.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right about thinking like a chess player as opposed to a checkers player. In checkers, you can literally look at the board and decide what your move is going to be, in real time. In chess, there is a particular strategy that you're trying to execute, and if it doesn't work, now you need to adapt. And so, when you look at because the claim was that all these chess applications and games and whatnot kind of ruin the game a little bit. But when you look at it, the way that it thinks is okay, I'm going to use this strategy. But if he makes this move, then I'm going to use this strategy. And then it goes down and says, okay, now from here, we're going to know if he does this, then we're going to go this. And if you let it think long enough, like 10 moves deep, it's calculating millions of variables.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's just a big game of if this, then this.
Yeah, if this, then that, and if not, then do this, and that's not an easy thing to do, because if your strategy isn't working, not only do you then have to go on the defense and play defensively, but you also still need to put up some kind of offense to keep them busy.
Yeah, battle back.
And you've got to also make sure, like, in that world, you got to make sure now that you're not being offensive in a way that's going to get you canceled. You've got to make sure that your people on stage aren't being offensive in a way that's going to get them potentially canceled. I had a show last month it was for a lawyer, his wife's birthday, and it was a house party, huge house party. This was a cool freaking party. They're all dressed like old people, like that was the theme, because the person was turning 40, so they're all like spray dye gray beards and all that kind of, it was freaking funny. Really, really fun group of people.
There's a jackass skit in the making. Just we threw flour all over them and called it antiquing.
It was so funny. But one of the things that I told them was, so every time I ask you, I actually, I borrowed this from other people I've seen, but every time I ask you how to spell your name, you're going to spell something completely inappropriate, just off the wall inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I got people spelling, the typical swear words and stuff. And I get to this one guy and he starts spelling a certain word that starts with the letter N, that I'm going to stop it there. And I go, whoa, 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 whoa. Anyway, next person. Wouldn't even let him finish. I mean, I turned that into a running joke later on, but I'm not going to let somebody finish that spelling even of that word on stage.
You're like, we can't do the Blazing Saddles thing right now.
Like, I don't care that it's a select audience and that it's a private party. I'm not going to allow that to fly, because I'm recording it and because other people may be recording it and other people there may look at that person differently. And so I stop it and I just move on. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to put them in a position that they are going to then regret. And so it makes us also hyper aware in a clinical setting. We're hyper aware of what are some of the triggers that might go off. And we're thinking through, what are ab reactions I need to look for? What are some of the pieces of the puzzle that aren't commonly talked about? And so it sets you up in so many ways. And the Performing Hypnosis Summit is so cool because there are so many legends that come through there. I mean, that's where I met Tom Silver. That's where I met Tommy V. That's where I met Israel Mandrake. That's where I met Chris Jones. That's the first time I got to have conversations with you guys. And it was completely life-changing. And it was validating to see that, because at that point I wasn't really doing hypnotherapy. At that point, at this time last year, I was strictly a comedy stage hypnotist, and that was it. And it wasn't until I sat down and talked to Tom Silver, and he started talking to me through this kind of stuff, because I thought I was like, I haven't been trained in hypnotherapy. I've done it for people who wouldn't work with other people, but I didn't
Right.
really get into it for that. He goes, oh no, you need to be doing this, because if you've done stage stuff, you can do the other stuff better than those who've been trained to do the other stuff most of the time. So but yeah, meeting him validating that for me, and then working with me and showing me how similar our styles were.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody out there is considering going, go. Like, I don't even care. I want you to go to my post training thing, but even if you go just for the conference itself, that conference is so incredible and
Yeah.
just packed with amazing teachers and an amazing community of people who just go above and beyond to help get you motivated to do shows, motivated to get where you want to be, and they mentor you through the whole process. It's amazing people that go to this thing.
And this year we kind of shifted gears a little bit out of necessity, just with life that happened. But we didn't do, you're the only post conference training that's the certification that's there. And for people who are coming in, it's like, just come in early, relax, take some time for yourself to kind of woo-saw, so you're not, hey, I just did 16 hours of training, now I'm going to start, that was pretty intensive, now I'm going to start with the conference and whatnot. It's like, what, we've pushed the start time back a little bit, so there's some more time in the morning, and really tried to kind of balance some things out. And I think I think kind of more of the focus is going to be on the people presenting, some of that networking, just organic fellowship, getting to know people, and actually having some of that free time. We're going to have some extracurricular activities and field trips and stuff like that, but we really want people to enjoy themselves and not feel like they're, cramming 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag, scrambling on an airplane, and then getting home.
Well, because even like there are at any of these conferences, you're going to find that sometimes it's a challenge of, am I going to go see this presentation, or am I going to go see this one? And they're at the same time in different rooms, and it'd be awkward if they were at the same time in the same room. But
Yeah.
they're not at the it's not going to work to see both, but you still get to connect with those people that you didn't get to go see and ask them questions, and even get the gist of what they were talking about. And even from the people who went and saw them, like, hey, how did that go? What did that look like? How it's just
Jessica Bryant says drinking from a fire hose. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Jessica, you should come to the PHS thing and learn to be a hypnotist.
So I've got a question for you. I want to get your kind of some honest feedback. So I'm going to use, it's encouraging people to come out in person. I mean, obviously any training, if you can, get it online and, take in the information and process it, awesome. But there's something to be said for showing up in person, meeting face to face, handshake, sit down, have a beer, whatever. But when we went out to go, you came with us to go see Kevin's show, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What were your thoughts, and how valuable was it for you when he basically said, give me 20 minutes, I'll interact with fans, take photos and all that stuff? And we sat there for what, hour and a half, just Q&A. He, grabs a water bottle and a towel, sits on the stage and goes, all right, ask me anything.
I love that he does that. So he did that for us last year, not this past time, but the one before.
Yep.
2024. He did that when he was in town in Michigan here for Michigan Hypnosis Conference.
Oh yeah.
So he did it there.
That's right, because he was he did a performance while you guys were out there, correct?
Yeah. So he did that at the Comedy
now
Castle. not the Comedy Castle. What is it? Mark Ridley's. Yeah, I think it's Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. Anyway, it's in
That
Royal Oak.
sounds right.
Yeah, it's in Royal Oak. But he did a show there, and he did the same kind of thing for any of us who were there and wanted to stay after. And I love he's such an open book. Like he's
Oh
not
yeah.
one of this like gatekeeper types. He will legitimately sit down with you. Actually, last year after the conference was over at PHS, he and I hooked up for lunch, and we
Uh-huh.
just sat down and talked. And I had him critique my website, and he gave me full honest feedback. I love that. I think that stuff is invaluable to anybody who excuse me, who can go to it. First
Yeah.
of all, going and watching a master run a show is crucial. This is all he does. This is his full-time thing, is performing hypnosis. So
And if you've got your own room in
in
Vegas for
yeah,
15 years and you're making a comfortable living, you're doing something right.
exactly. And so to go witness his show
Mhm.
and see how he conducts things and how his wife is involved, which I think that's like the coolest thing. Like I wish, when our kids are older, I hope my wife will be involved in the things that I do with this, because I think that's
Yeah.
just so cool watching Emily and Kevin do that. But
And really the cool thing, you can see that they've got just such pure love and admiration for each other.
yeah,
Kevin will be like, "Hey, I'm going to go see the wife show tonight because she's performing,"
yeah,
and
it's
she
awesome.
helps him out with his stuff. So it's really great, and they're both such wonderful people.
Well, and I've never met her, but Kevin went to my high school. I didn't meet him then, but he went to my high school. But he was so just bend over backwards. How can I help you, Tommy? And that's just the way he is. That's just Kevin Lapine in a nutshell. Like he's
It,
such
it,
a good person. And
it,
and so to get to pick his brain, how would you do X, Y, or Z? And like even over just Messenger, like he responds to these messages.
yeah,
He doesn't
it's
always see
pretty
them,
cool.
but then when he does, he gives you a detailed breakdown. He's not holding anything back. I think anyone who's hesitant,
Or he'll be like, give me 2 hours, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, call me. All right,
yeah,
cool.
and he
Uh,
knows everybody. So he's also like, I know people who are getting out of it and they want to hand off their gigs,
mhm.
and he'll talk to people and he'll say, show me show me some of your clips and all that kind of stuff. They look good. I know I could trust you. I'm happy to give your name to so and so.
And
And
in a way, that's also kind of, instead of having the scarcity mentality and trying to protect the craft, you're engaging and saying, look, I have some influence on how people conduct themselves,
mhm.
so that somebody doesn't go out and do something stupid. Somebody doesn't go out and ruin it for the rest of us.
Well,
Um,
Kevin said it beautifully when he said, there are more high dollar, high ticket gigs at the top of that spectrum than there are
mhm.
hypnotists to fill those slots.
Yeah.
And so if we would just start valuing ourselves, the competition, he was like, the competition's all at the bottom of the barrel. That's
Yeah.
where the competition is. And like we all refer each other. That's
Mhm.
one of the fun things about these conferences too, is the camaraderie that you build with people and the relationships that you build.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not going there and finding a whole bunch of competitors. You're going there and you're making new friends, and you're finding people who may hook you up and you may be able to hook them up, and now you're each other's heroes, right? And it's relationship building, and that's what I think, that's every bit as valuable, if not more valuable, than any of the information you'll take away from any of these conferences that you go to. Is the actual relationships and networking piece to it all is crucial. It's crucial to making a living in this, because otherwise it just turns into, I have to undercut the next guy and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy, and you're just undercutting yourself in the end.
Yeah.
And
It was Christina and Joe Beth, if I recall correctly. I think it was Heartland. They were in the St. Louis area, and it was, hey, last minute cancellation. We need two people to do these things? And really the helping hands, where Joe Beth didn't bring his iPad with him because he wasn't planning on performing. So he reached out to Jeff Bennick, to go, hey, I can do the Q labs in the cloud and this, that, and the other, talk you through getting your music and stuff, your content off of the iPad and onto your phone, so you at least have some control over what you're doing. uh, Casey, she did her first show. It was, I need help getting music and just something as, 3 or 4 songs so that they could be queued up and set up and organized, just that little bit. And for me, she was like, do you have any idea how to do this? And if I had said, sweetheart, no, I don't. Okay, cool. No harm, no foul. I was honest, but I was like, yeah, I think we can work something out. Reach out to Scott King. Hey, do you have any idea? Shawn, what are your thoughts on this? And then even guys like Salish. I mean, just talk about somebody who's awesome and super knowledgeable. And this dude is humble as humble can
He's
be.
so cool to talk to.
Like, and I,
Most of us Canadians are.
but I mean, just smooth too, and just incredibly gracious. And you know, it's the type of people, not that like, oh, we put these people up on pedestals and worship them like gods, but there's a lot of respect there. So I mean, when someone says, hey, I've got a couple hour layover in Seattle, Salish was running up and down between the Bay Area and California and Alaska and Boston. It was like 2 weeks straight. I think I saw him 3 or 4 times at the SeaTac airport, and it was just, hey, let's go get lunch. Let's go do whatever. And then when he came up here for, both he and Michael came up here for grad night. Yeah, grad night shows. And it was, I mean, 2 shows a night for like 10 days straight.
Yeah.
I got to watch 2 guys work, and it wasn't just, this is what I do on stage. It's seeing, hey, I've got this long-term relationship with this, event manager, the people at the venue. Hey, there's going to be a Samoan dude down at Trinity nightclub. He's going to be the door guy. He's super cool. And I don't have to find parking. I park my motorcycle right next to the door on the sidewalk, and nobody's going to mess with it. Beautiful.
But
that's awesome for me.
it's cool too, because you see these people who we would consider absolutely legends. I mean, I think of like someone like Chris Jones, who guy is on America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
He's the guy who hypnotized Howie Mandel, right? Like, that's freaking cool. That guy is the most chill human being on the planet. And I've talked to him a few times since, and on the phone and whatever, and he's just he's humble, he's
Yeah.
gracious, he's excited to help. He almost doesn't even want to talk about what he's doing. He wants to hear about what you're doing and
Yeah.
see how can he help. And when you see people who are just like loving the stage and they're in the limelight and they're that persona right on stage, they're commanding things, and then you meet them in person and they're just humble and they're just kind and helpful and genuine. It starts to go, oh, they're just people too.
Yeah, so somehow Chris's notebook ended up in my suitcase. And I think it was just we were cleaning up after everything, and he had set it up after like the leadership, your legends roundtable, and it just got left behind. So I was like, oh, here, let me grab this. And again, somehow it ended up in my stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, this is his notebook that he was talking about, that he writes down all of his ideas. And I'm kind of flipping through it. I'm like, yeah, this is Chris's. So I reach out to him, hey, dude, I got your stuff. Like, how do I get this to you? And I'll end up mailing it back to him. And, he was just super appreciative of it. Just little things. And that just got into, a good friend of mine that's actually, he's coming out to PHS for his first time. He's a clinical psychologist, my friend Garrett. And he was just going through kind of a rough time just with, some personal stuff. And
Sure.
he wasn't able to come down. He was like this close to coming down this past January. And so I was telling him about, yeah, you know, America's Got Talent, because he's got teenage daughters that, you know, watch all that type of stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, I remember that like a number of years ago. I go, yeah, I'm hanging out with him tonight. You know, pop him on, you know, a video chat on Messenger. And I'm going, oh hey dude, you know, showing him around what we're doing. And I'm like, hey, someone wants to say hi. Chris, you got a second? Boom, chit chat with them. And Chris is like, we need people like you that have your psychology degree and the cool initials after your name, to give the validity for hypnotherapy and all these different things. And Garrett's like, dude, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Chris had a conversation going. I said, hey, dude, I'm sorry to interrupt. And he was like, no, what is it? Hey, what can I do? Yeah, hold on a second. Excuse me. Chatted him up for a quick second and said, hey, come out next year. And then Chris had to go have a baby. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. But he's
nothing that Tommy would know anything about.
No, I don't know what babies are even. Definitely don't know what it's like to have 6 of them. But he's so humble, and that's the same thing I found with almost every single hypnotist I've met at these conferences. And I would say, you know, 1 or 2 exceptions to that, because there always are. There's always some deviation, right? But I would say the vast majority are these people who just want to, you know, you were talking earlier, Shawn, about the special one you guys are doing for Jim. And the one and only time I ever talked to Jim, like actually me and him just talking, was over a Zoom call. And it was after the Michigan Hypnosis Conference, because Mike Brody told me I need to go connect with Jim. Mm-hmm. And so I called him up and I was like, you know, so what steps should I be taking? This is my full-time job now. And or it was going to be my full-time job. It was before I even went full-time into this. And Jim, his whole thing, like, he gave me this whole layout. Like, here's my game plan of what I've done. Here's what I'm doing now. Here's what you should be doing where you're at. And I was like, how can I thank you for this? What can I do to pay you back? And he just said, pay it forward. A rising tide lifts all ships. Yeah. And I'm like, that's the mentality of almost every single person at these conferences. Yeah. And that was the mentality of, you know, Tom Silver. And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about keeping his legacy going and being involved with the Tom Silver Foundation, because, you know, most people don't realize how much pro bono work that man did. You know, he worked with the celebrities, right? He was always working with celebrities and on TV shows and all that stuff. And when people couldn't afford him and they were down on their luck and they were, you know, living on the street and whatever, Tom was working with them every bit as often, if not more often, than anybody else, because he knew the struggle. He was a recovered alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And he knew the struggle of addiction, and he knew where it could lead you. And he just had that compassion, and he wanted to see people thrive. And ever since all of this, it's just become this mission of like, how do I play into that, right? Like, how do I have my part to play in helping get people where they want to be too? Because I'm not rich by any means, but this is my living. This is me full time now. I've been full time for over a year now in hypnosis. And I credit things like the Michigan Hypnosis Conference, now the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference, and PHS for that step that I was able to take. And so, yeah, I just think if you have any inkling to possibly go, if you're on the fence, just jump over the fence and go, because it is so fulfilling to be in a room full of people, number one, who you get to bounce ideas off of, and you get to find that camaraderie and share war stories with, and all of that. You know, that's half of what brings a lot of veterans together, is trading stories with each other. Those bonds are so strong. If you come to these conferences, it's not like salesman conferences where you're one-upping and one-upping and one-upping. These are like form a genuine connection with somebody, and you have just become close friends, and you've created like an alliance, you know, and it's just amazing. And you walk away with a ton of new skills and new experiences. Like the post conference training that I'm putting on, it's all hands on. It's a full day of hands on. I am going to show you. I'm going to let you do it. I'm going to critique you, and we're going to do it until you've got it. And we're going to make sure that even if it means after the post conference training is done, I'm going to continue to follow up with you and see how you're doing. Like I want to make sure that you walk away feeling so empowered by what you learn that you can just hit the ground running and just go with it. And I think these are the places for that kind of stuff.
And one of the things that I keep kind of, I keep hammering this point, because I look at this from, a client or a consumer version. All of the attendees are, essentially customers of Performing Hypnosis Summit. There's not high pressure sales. It's not take my training, buy my stuff. If you don't, you're going to suck and your life's going to be miserable. It's, hey, let me help you. And if there's something that requires the, professional service or something like that, for example, if, Jeff Bennick, if he's going to program lights and sound and cues and set something up in Q Labs, pay the man for his time. He's going to work with you and give you, a good deal, but that's also his day job. And, let somebody experienced, work with you through that.
Well, and like even with this post-conference training thing, the biggest reason we're even charging for it as a foundation for the Tom Silver Foundation is because that's how it funds the things that we want to be able to do for the community.
Yeah.
That, like these sorts of things, where people pay for our training courses, or individual trainings or whatever else, services in general. Every time someone pays for that sort of a service, they're really funding somebody getting hypnotherapy that needs it, that can't afford it. That's kind of what it comes down to, because that's the whole mission of the foundation, is to boost hypnosis education. First of all, that's like our number one priority, to boost the educational component. And then it's also to help those who need help but can't get help because they can't afford it. And so like we're talking about getting into like Phoenix, Arizona and stuff, and working with the homeless populations there. Like we're working with a couple of nonprofits in that general area, where hopefully we'll be able to, in the next year or so, get down there and help with this addiction crisis that's over there, because it's massive, and just see what we can do. What good can we do? But the only way we get to do that, because we're not eligible for most grants and things like that right now, is through programs like this, where people can get something of value, but they're also funding future things like this.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. And I definitely want to talk to you more on how I can be a part of that, or to be able to support it. It's a worthwhile cause. And again, when you're closely involved, you kind of have some influence, or at least some direction on the decision making on, where your time, where your money, where all that type of stuff is aimed at, versus just blindly, take it out of my paycheck type of a thing and hope the government spends it responsibly. We've got great people that are coming out. One of the things that I really like to highlight, we're doing something new this year. I've invited a good friend of mine, a Navy veteran. His name is Brent Arnold from Templar Financial. So he runs his own wealth management firm. And so when you talk about, he came into the game at the peak of the housing market crisis, and the housing bubble popped, and, bankruptcy and this, that, and the other, and then rebuild to be one of the most successful people, and probably one of the smartest people that's in my sphere of influence, if you will. Just one of the kindest people too. He's going to be doing a presentation on some advanced financial planning, regardless of where you're at in your personal life or within your business. and how to really leverage things into your favor. And I remember I ran the idea by Chris Jones. The conversation came up just with money or like a new baby. It was, hey, here's what you can do. And I just asked Chris, I said, what are your thoughts on this? And he was like, I want to hear Brent speak. I absolutely want to meet him. And so, yeah, advanced financial planning for your business at any stage. So you don't need to be six figures every year before you think about, how do I have somebody help me? It could be, I'm starting out. How do I want to structure things? If you're not a US citizen in your country, what are some questions that I probably should be asking, a financial advisor or wealth manager, or even a business attorney? That might be something to look at next year. But one of the things I found over the years of being in the legal industry as a non-attorney is people who own their own businesses and are entrepreneurs are very, very good at what they do, but they're not very good, and they get in trouble in the administrative things, whether it's taxes, contracts, employment type stuff, and I think things like that really can wreak havoc if things go sideways. So it's, setting yourself up, making the investment in yourself, and really making sure that your business is firing on all cylinders. And again, there's no sales from Brent. It's one of the favorite lines that I love hearing from him is, I'm happy to help wherever I can, and utilize me as a resource, even if it's just pointing you in the right direction. And he's got a very, very proven history because he's good at what he does.
Well, and it'll be cool to see someone like him there. And then also, I believe HypnoBiz in a Box people are there. Sean and Melanie are coming this year.
They are, yep.
And I mean, I'm just going to shout out them right now because they have put together so it's like the business side of things is something that we almost never consider. We consider booking the shows. We consider that we need to get paid, and we kind of forget it there. And the business side of things is what sets you up for longevity and makes things move into the future the way that they're supposed to. And between this sort of presentation, talking about the financial planning and all of that, and getting ready to, that's stuff that I need. I'm going to be sitting in on that for sure. But then what Sean and Melanie have put together, they initially were working specifically with hypnotherapists, and now they're working with stage hypnotists, and they've got a whole system that automates automates your whole life, essentially, as far as the business end goes. And so it's like, it takes, if you have the the wherewithal financially, and then you've got the system to back it up, then you're an unstoppable force. You are already so far beyond 99% of the people in our field, including me just a year ago, right? And I've been doing this 20 years. So it's one of those, I mean, full-time for a year, but you know what I mean? Like, it's this whole thing. Like, I think you're not going to get that. You can get that reading a book, but you're not going to get the interaction where you can ask questions, where you can connect with the people, where you can actually form those lasting connections with them and feel empowered by them. Because even just being in someone's presence, we know firsthand, being in someone's presence, there's power to that. We get that from the crowd when there's an audience. When we're doing a show, if I'm doing a remote show and everybody's muted and it's just like 50 faces on a screen, and I can't hear the laughter and I can't feel the laughter coming, there's a sound effect. There's a feeling of, like, it hits you in the chest. When there's a huge eruption of laughter, you physically feel it. And
without that, you might as well be on the radio.
Right.
I remember my cousin was telling me he would kind of do some guest spots when he was working at a radio station, whether it was internship or, a job. And so sometimes they would have him come on the air, and he goes, you crack a joke to the 3 or 4 people that are in the studio or in the booth, but he goes, you don't know if people are rolling over, dying, laughing hysterically in their car or what. And he goes, without that, that's really weird. And that's kind of weird. That reminds me of what, when Jim would do that online, he would be like, okay, get hypnotized through the screen. I'm like, I don't get that feedback. I just go, we start talking, we do that stuff, and then you kind of hope it works. But it's good to get that feedback. And that's why I enjoyed the interaction, where when we would kind of do the funny stuff, somebody comes on the screen and you can actually see, hey, we snap our fingers, we have them look at their fingers or whatever it is, and there's a reaction. But yeah, I just can't, I can't speak highly enough on the significance and even the importance of just in person. It's like trying to play golf. Nobody's going to come up to you and be like, it's all in the hips. I mean, if you want to, I'm sure Shawn's available, but
if somebody comes up to you and says it's all in your hips, you might want to question how they know that.
Or you might be on Fremont Street.
Well, that's entirely possible also. But speaking of in person, just to give people an idea of people that we have speaking. Yeah. So room A, room B, those are live in person presentations, and Tommy, you said it. You can't be in both.
Yeah.
So your ticket does cover the cost of all the streaming video from each of the sessions for 90 days after the conference. But we also have just a strictly online room. So we do have a third room, which has presenters presenting at different times. And you can see there, John Sorbonne will be kicking it off online. You mentioned Brent, our friend Michael. Will be kicking off first day. Tommy V is going to be doing a kind of a special presentation on the relationship between his dad, Jerry Valley, and Ormond McGill. And if anybody knows anything about legacy, because we've mentioned it a few times here as part of it, Tommy V is a product of legacy. Like, his dad's been a hypnotist. He's a hypnotist. Kevin Lapine will tell you that he stands on the shoulders of giants, the people that were there before him. So
yeah.
Then we have some expert panels. Some guy named Tommy G. I don't know. We talked about Tommy V, and then there's this Tommy G guy.
We're gonna call him the Alphabet Tommies, and just let that naturally just spiral out of control.
We need a couple more Tommies. That's what
you were mentioning Ormond McGill. I just want to show you. Sorry I'm not trying to interrupt you here, but before Tom died, before Tom Silver passed, he gave me and Israel a bunch of handwritten letters from Ormond McGill to Tom Silver, and so I got a whole bunch of Ormond McGill's handwriting, and this is like a handwritten note from him.
Wow! Oh God, you're gonna be like curating a display.
I got my signed copy of Ormond McGill's.
Yeah, turn it on its side.
Encyclopedia. I got Ormond's signature to Tom, and then Tom's signature to me.
Nice.
Oh wow!
Turn it on its side so people can see just how thick that actually is.
Yeah,
like it is a literal encyclopedia.
And if you like scripts, this is the book for you. But but I love this because it goes into, it's not just really scripts. It's really talking about, like, here are the things to consider. Here are all the considerations. Here's like just tons of different ways of handling this sort of situation. And it's just awesome. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to show that to you because you said Ormond McGill's name, and I was like, oh wait, I got that right here.
Yeah, I know that guy.
So, well, and that's the thing. Like, this is not new. This is something that has been building, and we look at people in the 40s, 50s, and 60s starting to break out. The hypnosis kind of hits the airwaves a little bit through some people, and then it kind of just explodes from there. Even what was it, mid 60s, I want to say that the AMA said, yeah, it's legit. The Catholic Church said, yeah, it's legit.
57.
There's some, there's something that actually backs this. So, we're not just out here. What's the term that they used? Willy nilly.
We're not woo woo.
there is something to what we do. So of course our friend Dan talking about don't be creepy, and he's got some good stories about some of the creepiness that could creep in, and how to avoid it. Joe Beth will be online talking about his fundraising shows and how you can earn more by kicking off and doing the fundraising. And again, new presenter this year, Tracy. This is also her first time last year, talking about some AI stuff that you can use. Dennis is actually going to make his way out to PHS this year, so it'll be good to see him. He presented last couple of years online, and then it just goes from there. I remember Scott Sandlin saying in one of the classes that I took from him, you have to take care of your moneymaker. And that just has all kinds of connotations for everybody. But for us,
I was told it was going to make me go blind.
But for us, it's our voice. And so Jeffrey Siegel will be in. He'll be doing absolute masterclass that he gave a couple of years ago, actually already, about how to increase your vocal power without overextending your voice. Claude, we actually interviewed, what was it, last week sometime on Hypnosis Hero, and he's talking about sponsorships and how to get a win-win-win situation going. And it looks like it's going to be something absolutely stellar. Of course, Chris, we're waiting on a couple of details from him. Michael DeShalit and Kevin LaPine will be presenting. And again, we've talked about Kevin and the fact that he's been in Vegas for a long time. Hypnosis is theater, crafting a show, not just a routine. How do you take what you want to do on stage and turn it into a performance?
Yeah.
Again, you have all that wisdom there. We mentioned the word abreaction. I know some people don't like the term anymore, and it's starting to kind of fall out of use a little bit, but what happens when something happens on stage? How do you deal with it? So now we have an expert panel on that. That's going to be led by, Alan Sands. Lisa will be, I'm sure, sitting on there. How do you deal with what happens on stage like that? And speaking of Lisa, of course, conducting the successful group inductions, Israel's going to be talking about some of his supernatural stage phenomena. As long as he doesn't get my pin numbers, I'm good.
You already got him.
Not likely, but we'll find out. And then, of course, Tommy V will also be. Boy, I've got him twice on the same day. I should probably fix that. And Salish, the hand clasp, you get that going, and hypnosis is just naturally follows. Salish, we talked about him. If you look back on YouTube, you will find all kinds of Salish videos.
Yeah.
Because he has been in the college market for many, many, many years. So how do you get in there, and how do you compete in the college market?
I mean, having dual citizenship helps.
Well, yes, it does. I wouldn't lie about that. That's for sure.
But he's also got the experience of having his own entertainment management company, of like, what are clients looking for? How can you stand out from the rest, and things like that?
Yep. Yeah, and that experience is huge when it comes to translating. How do he's looking for particular skill sets when he's booking, and I know that because Corey J has been looking. I know Jesse up here has recommended a few shows my way and whatnot. They're all looking because they can't do it all themselves. There is an abundance, like you said, there's an abundance of work. Jason Simmons is going to be coming across the pond probably a couple days after Grant. He's going to be in person talking about where hypnosis and mentalism truly meet. So you're seeing some overlap? No, you're not. You're seeing two different teachers that are going to come at it from a slightly different perspective. And that's not a bad thing, because having been in education for 30 plus years, um, you tend to figure out that certain teachers can bring out certain things in different students. They might be teaching exactly the same topic, doesn't matter. So it never hurts to double up on that. For the people that are new, how do you get started? Ellen and Lisa run a boot camp, and that boot camp is absolutely amazing. Anybody that has taken the boot
Joe,
camp,
Joe, Joe Beth had great things to say about it.
yeah, he was there last year. Talked to Dot, the hypnotist,
Mm-hmm.
Susan's perennial attendee of the boot camp. Just absolutely phenomenal mentorship right from the ground up. So how do you go from zero to that six figures? So they're going to be there talking about their experiences and how to do that. Casey, of course, is our
Yeah.
volunteer coordinator.
Okay, just do it already.
Yeah, and how do you get out there? We talked a little bit about her journey to her first show. How do you just step out and do it?
Mm-hmm.
Christina is like me. We're professional, part-time comedy stage hypnotist. How do you make that work?
Yeah.
Because it's not easy. This December was really, really busy. And November, the end of November was getting there, and I didn't have anything before that really until kind of, I don't know, mid October. I think I picked up an extra gig or something like that. So how do you
Yeah.
make it so that you can manage all the ups and downs and twists and turns and so on and so forth? Richard Cole is not going to be able to join us this year in person, but online he's going to be talking about how do you close more gigs. And Jesse was talking about it in the Aisha roundtable today, the business side of it. How many leads do you need so that you can book the number of shows that you want in a year?
Yeah.
Because and now Richard's going to follow that up with, hey, this is how you can increase the percentage that you actually sign. Leaders panel, again, Kevin LaPine, surviving Vegas and how that knowledge can grow your career. Jesse talking about getting bookings. Jeff, of course, will undoubtedly be talking about some technical things.
Was there something with Q Labs, I'm sure? Or
Well, just in general. But we had
Yeah.
Jeff as a guest 3 months ago now. And
yeah, it was right after the Michigan one, I think September.
yeah, okay, a few months ago then.
Yeah. His talk in January was mind-blowing.
Yeah. But the way that he handles a show is not a show. It's almost more like live theater.
Yeah, it's like a live or a yeah, it is.
It's almost like a
play.
Yeah, it's like a play or an opera or a musical or something along that line. It is a production.
His performance is definitely kind of like a bucket list item that if I can ever get over to the Netherlands, that it would be like, yeah, I want to go see it.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course our post conference. Ta-da!
So
I think we know this guy.
So real quick, we touched on Dan Goyette,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd really like to, give him some appreciation because he's really gone above and beyond, trying to promote the event. He's been a sponsor. He kind of spoils us with some different not raffle prizes, but speaking Garrett, yeah, he called me and I messaged him. I'm like, hey, we're in the middle of live. So he's got his hotel tickets, airfare already booked this past weekend. So he's the man with the letters behind his professional letters behind his name. So yeah, show him some love when he gets into town. Fun fact, he used to be the mascot for Gonzaga University in another lifetime. So total character, good dude. And then Grant, if you're watching, also a member or a brother of the craft. So yeah, it's but going back to Dan, he brings the what did he change the name? Hypno World Magazine.
Yeah, Hypno World Magazine. Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, well, please don't let me screw this up. I mean, he'll set his booth up and everything, and it's like we're constantly doing interviews, attendees, what's going on. And so if you look at that, yeah, you're appearing on his platform, but then it's also something to add to your video stuff that you can share with your people. It's content. And so we've had he just published an article about how Hypnosis Hero came out to be, and how Shawn and I both kind of tripped, stumbled, and Forrest Gumped our way into that. Oh, here we are. But it's just been it really means a lot what he has put forth, and really the effort that he's put into this. So I definitely think it's more than fair to mention that and show him our appreciation. And the same thing with Joe Beth. He's his Between Two Minds podcast. Hey, all of our speakers, you got the opportunity to book time to go get interviewed beforehand, and that was it was actually Joe Beth's interview, I think, of Tom Silver, that I was like, oh man, this is going to be awesome.
That's
Tom's
the only
going to
reason
come
I
speak.
even went last year. That's the reason I went, and because if I hadn't seen that interview, I was actually going to be investing in HypnoBiz in a Box instead. I had the money set aside for that, and then I saw Tom Silver on on Between Two Minds, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. I feel like I gotta go. I prayed on it. I prayed on it. My wife finally said, "You're going. You're not. You don't have an option." But and she threatened to kick me. But but seeing Tom on there is what was the tipping point, because I was going to come this year. I was planning on coming this time, and just saving up and making that happen. But when I saw Tom there, I was like, okay, I want to go meet him. I need to go meet Tom Silver. And thank God I did, because he was gone 5 months later, almost to the day, and I became, he and I became such close friends. We were talking daily for hours and hours until he was in hospice. And it just completely changed the whole trajectory. But I'm so grateful for Joe Beth for that too, because that was what I saw him on.
Yeah. And it's really cool, because you don't know, the 2025 conference. Steve Falcon showed up and just was, oh, by the way, I'm doing a show in the Venetian at this cool speakeasy venue that it was really cool. I mean, you put an audience full of hypnotists, and it's like, we're calling for volunteers, and everybody's like, but we want to watch you work. But he still pulled it off. It was great, a lot of fun. Also, another cool guy, and just people that kind of tend to stop in. So it's just a lot of fun. Mark Savard, we're going to go plan on seeing him on Monday. After the conference, I was able to reach out to him, and as believe his wife responded and said, yeah, we're happy to help. Here's what we can do. So there's an open invitation for Mark to drop in as his schedule permits, having the understanding and the context that he's just getting his Vegas show back up and running. So, if we see him, great. If not, we totally understand. We'll go support him on Monday. But
his show on Monday is at 6, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking to Tracy earlier or yesterday, because she was asking, because Tracy's taken the post-conference training with me. The training's done at 4 is my plan. Yeah. So plenty of time to get food, plenty of time to get over to where Mark is and go see his show, so we could support him. Just in case that was anything, because there's more than one reason to stay after a conference like that too, even just for those who stay after. And you get a little more bonding time like that.
And keep an eye out on especially the Facebook group, and I'll work with Shawn and Grant to keep the website updated. We've got sponsors. I think Shawn, you talked about Entertainer Secret. So we've
Took some before, and my voice is still good. So
yeah, so they're going to be providing us some samples, kind of some travel size stuff that ladies can stick in your purse, guys can stick in the go bag.
I thought you were going to say,
I'm glad you said that we could put it in a bag and not stick it somewhere else.
Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength.
So and really honorable mention for Michael Deschalet. He was like, hey, if you guys need to ship anything, don't ship it to the hotel. It's expensive. Get in touch with me. Give me the address. So I just confirmed the tracking information that they're going to send the product down to him. He'll have it at the conference, and there may be some other sponsors that are coming up, some value add items, things to do that aren't going to cost anything extra. So keep your eyes peeled. We're still working on things behind the scenes, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, there's always going to be something new. There's always going to be something, right up to the last day. Like you said, last year we had people just kind of show up. A couple of years ago, when we were first there as a group. So the first year, of course, was online, right?
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to Paul Ramsey. He did an absolutely awesome job moderating the Legends panel, because here you had Marshall Silver and Anthony Gailey and 3 or 4 other guys that had Tom Silver, I think, was part of it as well. Guys that had crossed the country, and there was this just real cool human moment.
Yeah.
And hey, do you remember when we had lunch? Blah 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 blah, and oh yeah, and blah 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 blah, and blah blah blah. And it's like, these guys have been in the business for years, and they're talking about having lunch in some airport, meeting halfway across the country, because it just so happened that they ran into each other at the airport, crisscrossing the country, and you think to yourself, well, that's really cool. So Grant and I, of course, we went to a local Tim Hortons here that, for whatever reason, Sunday night later, they most of
did not have a damn thing.
They didn't have a latte for Grant. Well, okay, whatever. We can live without the latte. Then he went to order a particular wrap. They didn't have that, so we settled on a sandwich of some sort. And I had my coffee, and then sent him on his way. And as I sent him on his way, I said, in 15 years, we're going to be on that panel, and we're going to be talking about that time that we were in Tim Hortons, and they didn't have this and they didn't have that, and you drove through all kinds of snow and ice and blah blah blah. And that's all part of progression in this profession. Stepping out, meeting people, getting to know them, getting getting mentorship, getting ideas, bouncing things off, meeting up, and just saying, hey, like, Michael lives in the same town that you do. How many times do you see Michael, in a year that none of us would get to, right? When Jim was still around, how many times did you see Jim in person that none of us else would have gotten to?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, he was 15 minutes away. I mean, sometimes I was seeing him several times a month. I would go 6 months without seeing him because he'd be in Phoenix or traveling or pursuing Taylor Swift. But actually, I'm gonna segue just kind of into some of the dumb stuff that you're going to experience. And I say dumb stuff, just off the wall, completely unexpected, nothing bad unless you're me. So I'm going to regale you with the tale of 17 Black. So
okay, before you say that, extracurricular activities. So Cindy's asking the question, are we invited to Catherine's? We'll have a complete list of extracurricular activities as
Yeah,
soon as we can. We're
we're
just
working on
confirming
that.
more details. Yep.
So, and Catherine Hicklin, she's just awesome, amazing. Definitely go check out her podcast and her just wealth of experience of performing. Um, that's just another resource. But so on to the tale of 17 Black. So Grant and Jim concocted this idea that, hey, at the first in-person summit, at the end of at the end of the conference, we'll go hit the roulette wheel and we'll place $25, whatever it is, a nominal amount on 17 Black. That's the number that Grant just had in his mind. Now we go up. I have my money. Grant has his money. So Grant lays his money down, gives it to the dealer, chips, bets placed. Jim throws his money down, but Jim wants to make change. And I think it was like a $50 bet. And he said, no, I only want $20. And they're like, well, we only have $25 chips or something like that. Now there is this dude in between. So Grant's standing up at the table, Jim is standing there, and then there is a dude sitting on a chair, and this guy has got some gravity. He is pushing for hundo and then some. The wheel is spinning. The ball is going around. I'm waiting for my spot, and I'm like, Jim, stop arguing with the guy. Just let it play out. Don't worry about it. And Jim's just, no, but I don't. He's still in conversation. I hear no more bets. And I'm like, well, shit. Okay, maybe this is a good thing. There's no way that they're going to call 17 Black winner. Jim wins like $1,000. Grant, I think, won about half of that because he had like a 10 or a much smaller bet. And I'm kind of sitting there, and Jim's like, wait, what? I won? And I'm kind of like, dude, you completely boxed me out of this whole thing. So he goes, oh, well, let me make it up to you. We're going to get you the large hot chocolate at Starbucks with the whipped cream and the sprinkles. So I'm just like, you dick. But so then fast forward at Gold Coast, we go, all right, we're going to, I'll take a 20 and we'll throw it out there. I'm not sure if it was 17 Black or if we picked a different number, but anyway, that was the first shot we went out there. It hit. I'm like, cool. I got a couple $100. I got majority of the hotel paid for. I could not get chips off the table fast enough. And then Grant and his wife come up to Seattle, and we're at the Tulalip Casino on the Indian reservation. A beautiful, beautiful place. And so Choi's like, oh, I'm going to try to hit. And so she picks her number. She hits it. Grant and I lose our money. And so she's, dancing up to the cashier window and everything like that. So it's just little things like that make funny stories and friendships. And I will absolutely post the video on the Facebook event of the reaction, and Jim, big baller holding cash. But it's just silly stuff like that.
Well, even like so I'm not a gambler, right? But so last year at PHS, I basically, because I had no money. I mean, I took out a loan to go there last year. But I
consult your local tax professional. You don't be able to write off the interest.
Yeah. But regardless, it was worth every penny anyway. But I sat down. I basically hung out at the TGI Fridays at the Gold Coast because that's just it was going to be.
That was like ground zero. That was like the meeting hub.
But it was like I didn't want to drive somewhere because I hate driving in Vegas. It's just I don't like driving somewhere new. I don't like going out if I can avoid it. So I'm like, okay, I'm eating on the premises. So I was eating there, and it's like everybody kept coming in there. And that's when Israel and I got to connect, really. Like, we met upstairs at the conference, but we got to sit down and talk there. And that's when he starts, whipping out his crazy card tricks. He's, spitting cards out of his mouth. And,
Israel is a character.
But then, all these other people started coming in. and showing what they got and showing what they got. And it's like, Attila comes in and shows his card tricks. And
Yeah.
we're all just sitting around. By the end of the night, we're all like best friends. And it's like that. But that's the kind of stuff that makes these conferences so special. Is the conferences themselves are great. It's more than just business connections, though. You really make friendships with people that go beyond the business, but also boost you in business, right? It's this multifaceted sort of world.
Well, one of my cool memories of 2025 was Scott Houghton, Michael Brody's one of his students.
Scott's
He
awesome.
came in and Michael was talking to somebody else. I forget who it escapes me right this second, but anyway, I just kind of start chit chatting with Scott. We're talking about airplanes. Scott used to be a pilot, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I used to fly corporate, and then I've got this plane and here, and here's fly out of these places, and I just love to do it. And then hypnosis, here's how I got into it." And I mean, that guy is just a sharp mind.
Scott's such a good person. He's such a cool guy.
Just genuine. And so we're sitting here. I'm like, oh, here's my friend's airplane. We went flying in Washington, and it's like we're showing pictures of our children almost. But then it's just, every now and then I can just shoot him a phone call and go, hey man, how are you doing? What's the latest and greatest? Oh, I'm doing great. You catch up. All right, cool. Can't wait to see you in Vegas. Awesome.
Yeah.
And just little things like that. And yeah, so TGI Fridays is no more, but
oh really?
I think they redid it into, I think corporate shut it down, but then I've seen the pictures on some different websites, whether it's like the third party hotel booking stuff, but they did a kind of a quick refresh in there, so it looks like a pretty cool place. So I don't think we're gonna.
It'll still be the hangout, probably.
Yeah, and I mean there's a Denny's across the street.
Yeah.
So if you catch yourself out there at 3:00 in the morning and you go, I'm hungry for pancakes, you may go use the restroom and find a dude in there doing his hair and makeup and whatnot with his suitcase just splayed out all over the floor. And you're like, I think I can hold it. And it's just silly stories, but don't think that you've got to go spend a bunch of money on food. I think there's a CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens across the way. So
Walmart's not too far out
right now.
Yeah, go get your snacks and stuff like that. It's just, I think.
Well, there's a Subway in the facility too. Like I ate there one day.
There's a Subway.
Across the street. Don't go on Sunday.
What's that?
I said there's a Chick-fil-A across the street too, and don't go on Sunday.
Oh well.
Oh yeah, you won't be able to sit down.
You're hungry.
But no, I actually did speak with the ladies up front. So what most people probably didn't pay attention to last year was when you check in at the front desk, they're going to give you a room key and they're going to put it in a little like brochure type thing that's going to have some little handout type things in it. But in there's going to be a $50 free play. So if you go to guest services or the cashier window, sign up for the Boyd's, resorts rewards thing. It doesn't cost anything. And it's $50 to go play 17 black in Jim's honor. But we want to encourage everybody. We're not here to police anybody. Do not feel obligated to drink. If you do, drink at your own pace. You know what you can handle. Be responsible. Be safe. Same thing with gambling. Don't put, you can't win if you don't play, but you also can't lose what you don't put in the pot.
Better yet, all of us there are hypnotists, and we are experts at making things taste like other things and feel like other things. So if you really want that buzz, just let's all hook each other up. We'll just get waters and tell each other it's whiskey, and suddenly by the end of it, we're feeling it. But all we got to do is snap our fingers at each other, and we're sober.
And we made a change. So earlier this year, the Friday night we had the kind of the social. We brought the bar in, and it cost a lot of money. Um, there's a nice bar area that on Friday night shouldn't be too terribly busy. We'll probably kind of migrate over there, or the old TGI Fridays, and just kind of hang out. So
I'm
grab
sure they
your
wouldn't mind
non-alcoholic
anyway. It's
stuff.
extra business for them, right? So
Yeah, it's and that way it's close to the elevators, close to the rooms, and really you'll get the lay of the land pretty quickly. So we encourage anybody who's on the fence, come out. If you're worried about what to say, come say hi. um if you and if you come up to me and I don't like instantly recognize you right off the top of my head from a Facebook profile photo or something like that, I probably got 1,000 things going through my head. Say, "Hi, Brian. I'm insert name here," and just come
Just
have
make sure
fun.
it's your name. Don't mess Brian up totally by saying insert name here.
well, just remember again, we're all hypnotists and we all change each other's names all the time. So just
Yeah, Casey's going to bring Brewster Bear, the morale officer mascot dog for the conference. Another amazing story on his life's journey and his purpose. So it's going to be great. It's January. Keep an eye on the forecast. I think we're going to try to get, if you get into town early, we're going to try to get out on the strip and do some street hypnosis. We'll have some video. What did somebody write in that? It better be TikTok, Shawn.
Oh, it is. Yes, David
Okay.
just wrote hi. Insert name here.
Oh man, we're too close to Christmas for me to respond. I want Santa to switch lists, but no, it's a great time if you're actually going to show up. Throw an RSVP in the event. Throw some comments in there that because I want to have an idea of who we're all going to see tomorrow night. Some of you, it's going to be later today. So Christmas Eve, I believe midnight West Coast time. That's the cutoff. That's when we're locking the hotel reservation. So if you haven't booked flights, if you're waiting for that Boxing Day, or get your Christmas money to go get all that stuff, it's I think a little over $50. It's fully refundable. That's the deposit. 24 hours before check-in is when you would have to cancel your reservations or make any changes. So get that, preserve the discount rate. And again, my caveat, if you go through third party, Expedia, hotels.com, whatever, you're on your own. But
yes, you have about 24 hours to book your hotel room.
Yeah.
Because after that, like Brian said, it is locked, and you will wind up paying full rates, or
and some people who have, like earlier this year, Salish came in last minute, and we kind of planned for that. So I asked the hotel, I'm like, hey, we got one or two people that may kind of roll in last minute based on their availability if something just falls right into place. And it was Salish popped me a message while he was in the air on Messenger. Hey, I get in at this time. Do they have a room? I'm like, yeah, I got you. Sent me all of his info. We took care of him. And he shows up an hour and a half later, and I'm like, dude, great to see you, man. So
even if you miss that window, though, and I encourage anyone to hit that window if they can. But even if you miss that window, I missed it last year. I signed up. It was like 2 weeks before, or it was like 2 weeks before that I bought my ticket, and I had to get a room at, I think it was Wingate. It was a little ways away. It was 15-minute drive or something, or 10-minute drive, but it's still was worth every single penny. I got a rental car so I didn't have to Lyft or Uber, and I went to that hotel, and I would just drive straight over to Gold Coast every morning,
Yeah.
and it was well worth even that little bit of hassle, which really wasn't much of a hassle at all. So even if you miss that window, don't act like or don't feel like you're cut off from the conference at that point, because you still have access. There's a million hotels in the area, and there's always deals online where you'll find a good rate, and I would
Reach
encourage
out.
anyone to book an extra day on the end, not just as a shameless plug for my training, but like
Yeah.
give yourself that extra time to
Go
go
see
see
another show.
Madison Card, go see, go see the Strip, go do some things if you want to,
And,
make it so that it's not just the conference, make it the whole experience.
yeah, I know Saturday night, Michael Deschalt's doing a fundraiser show, so that I'll get some info from him. So that may be an opportunity to support him, and then
He's another really good guy.
yeah, and so there's a lot of there's opportunities. Don't feel compelled that you have to go out and do anything. And the shows that we're talking about, they're not hundreds of dollars. I think we're probably $30, 35 ish average, kind of right in there. So it's hardly breaking the bank, but and don't think that you've got to show up with bells on and 3-piece suit and everything. We'd rather just see you.
Yeah, skip the bells. Bring the 3-piece suit, dress. Dress. Make sure you're dressed.
Yeah, please shower and stuff like that. But
their hypnosis shows.
Yeah, we had to. Was it this year or was it last year? Olga just showed up at the table going, I drove from Northern California. I was just called to come out to Vegas, and I walked in the hotel. I saw Performing Hypnosis Summit, and can I attend?
She was so cool. We did the 1 second induction together with Attila, and
Yeah.
she was just so fun. Like she was just in it, intense. Like, yeah.
So if she comes out, it's Vegas. I mean, wild stuff happens. As far as I know, everybody keeps their clothes on, even Israel. But it's
mostly.
Yeah.
He's always got it unbuttoned down to here, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to show his tattoo.
Right.
Love Israel.
But no, I mean, it's just, I think everybody in general really embraces kind of the culture that Jim was trying to cultivate. Is, we all kind of work together. And it's, again, there's no high pressure on anything. It's, look, we're here to help one another out, and mutual respect goes back and forth. So yeah, we expect people to act like adults, circumscribe, keep yourself within due bounds, all the basic adulting 101, and have fun. Your trip is what you're going to make it, or make of it.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's probably a good place to segue over to the Jim's family. Will they be there? Cindy's asking. I believe
Yes.
Maya and Yang will be there. Yes.
So encouraging news. Yang may have to adjust her flights. She graduated from her master's program and recently accepted a job, but I think they were going to come in like Wednesday or Thursday, but they will absolutely be there.
Yeah. And
I have it on good authority that we have found the little tote bags, the goodie bags that were.
I still have mine from the second year, and I still use it. Like it is really actually good for if you need a grab bag of cables.
Yeah,
that's exactly the bag for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and am I getting too far ahead of ourselves? The 26th.
Oh, we already talked about it.
Okay.
Somebody was a little bit behind schedule.
Yeah.
But
No,
yes, no, we will definitely mention that again. But um,
yeah,
the one thing that we want to drive home is, because a few people have mentioned it. I'll be there, but I may not speak online, and that's okay.
yeah,
It's really just the online get together. To remember Jim, and if you have a story that you want to tell online, Brian and I will have the links available that will
yeah.
help you access that. I believe Wave
We
said,
we we expect comments.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
it's not a second funeral. We're just, we've set the date and the specific time for a reason. We'll share that, and it just kind of seemed appropriate. I think, I don't remember who brought it up, but it was just sort of a, hey,
yeah,
what do you
it was
think? And it
something
was like, yeah, absolutely. There was no
yeah,
hesitation.
yeah. It was something, like I said, that I was toying with back in November, even.
So
So
yeah, I mean, we can reach into some emotions and stuff like that, but really you know, sharing the funny stories and stuff like that, fond memories. It's really just about, keeping Jim's legacy alive.
I think that's a good place to segue into the end of the podcast, because we've been on now for over almost 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's not a record, but it's getting close. Getting
Amanda
close.
says, hold my beer.
It seems to me I remember Wendy going about 4 hours that night. So Wendy freezing.
We easily could have done that, and it felt like 30 minutes. But
Yeah, that was a while ago. But yes, those types of stories are the things that we'll be sharing. Maybe some behind the scenes things that Jim
it,
will do.
in our defense, when she says, "Hey, there's hypnosis that'll make your ding ding bigger," there's a lot of guys going, "Okay, you have my attention. Tell me more, please." Uh,
Some things at attention. Anyway, um, man is saying, I remember being on it. Yes, and we want you to come back on Hypnosis Hero next year. So we'll have to find some time to make
oh,
that
I'm
happen.
trying to. Amanda, shoot me a message and give me a quick reminder. I'm trying to remember what happened, but yeah, I'm sure it's funny, and as soon as you tell me, I'm going to be like, "Yep, that's it."
No, I remember what happened.
Unless that was before my time, or did I
No,
have the night
you
off?
were
Or
involved. You were
okay,
involved. Yeah.
I may have been heavily medicated after the car accident, so there's a patch of life where I'm like, yeah, I don't remember that. So the mediumship segment.
Hmm.
Wait a minute. I think I remember. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, yep. That was it. It all comes back to me like a bad dream. Uh, but no, that was absolutely just mind blowing. So, but yeah, Cindy, I don't think we can say anything more other than Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah. I'm not sure if we're still in it or they're done. Um, Kwanzaa, forgive me on that. And was Eid, any other holiday celebrations, and if we don't see you on the 26th, I hope that the remainder of 2025 closes out strong, and I wish you guys all of the best, prosperity, good health, especially you, Grant, after this trip. Do not go in the hospital um, going into 2026. And I look forward to seeing every single one of you guys in Las Vegas.
And on behalf of all of us, of course, we'll close off. This is the last time I'm going to give Jim any kind of attribution to this. After this, it's mine. Take care, stay well, be awesome. Good night, everybody.
Take care, guys.
See ya.